Welcome back into Auburn Intel. This is closing time, our final opinions of the night, and Rob's going to kick us off tonight.
Georgia week is an emotional week for many guys. Any given year, roughly a quarter to a third of the Auburn roster hails from the Peach State and loathe the Bulldogs fiercely. When I played, it became a mutual promise. The Georgia guys would say, "You play your heart out for me this week, I'll do the same for you against Bama." My roommate at Auburn, Whit Smith, was a Georgia boy from Crisp County. He knew nothing of the Alabama-Auburn rivalry, its history, its legends, but knew everything about the Georgia Bulldogs. I can remember the meaning this game had to guys like Takeo Spikes, Hicks Poore, Ben Leard, Brad Ware, Dontarius Thomas. It was the highlight of their Auburn careers, the reason most of them came to Auburn in the first place. They wanted this game more than any other, hands down, including the Iron Bowl. Because of that roster disparity, Auburn having more guys from Georgia as opposed to Georgia players from Alabama, this rivalry means more to the Auburn players. Our Texas A&M performance made me question our motivation, our emotion, our mindset. Playing in Athens should remedy that despondency. And an Auburn team playing with a purpose has yet to be defeated this season by an opponent. Auburn's 2 losses have come from Auburn defeating itself.
I'd like to make mention about what has been, in my opinion, a decline in focus. The mistakes that are being made, if they're missed tackles, if they're fumbles, if they're penalties, if they're not protecting a field goal, their attention to an area of detail. These are not give-up plays. They're plays that don't just get executed. And execution is still about the details of getting ready to play. And at this time, I think our coaches have to look back at what we've got to do to get both the emotion and the focus of these players back to fundamentals. So my point is a little less game plan, a little more focus on fundamentals and emotions.
My colleague at AuburnUndercover.com, Philip Marshall, raised the point on Monday, and it's a good one. Gus Malzahn, for the first time as head coach at Auburn, halfway through his second season, will face some questions on the defensive side of the ball when this season is finished. For the second year in a row, the Tigers' defense has given up yards and points at a level not consistent with a championship caliber team. Auburn's defensive struggles aren't relegated to just this year. Since 2009, Auburn's defense has not been among the SEC's best, not even close. Malzahn's offense doesn't help things. A fast-paced offense doesn't go hand-in-hand with a dominant defense most of the time. Having said that, bad tackling, missed assignments, jumping off sides, those are correctable mistakes that aren't being corrected right now. Maybe Auburn's defense will turn it around in the final 3 games, maybe not. Regardless, Malzahn and Ellis Johnson will face some hard questions when the season ends about the direction of this defense for the immediate future. Guys, what do you think? You agree?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be an interesting offseason to see how they attack that.
Yeah, and it's been a problem for a lot of years, so they're going to have to, figure something out. Now, Ellis isn't going anywhere, but something's got to change.
One thing is what's the difference between the first half and the second half? I mean, they scored 2 field goals in the second half.
Yeah.
And if you look at what's happening on offense, you've got every coach on the offensive staff is downstairs. That whole thing is run around Gus on the sideline. On the other side, all the brain power and the adjustments are happening at halftime. And I think maybe the slow starts have to do with what our sideline organization is. And I think maybe when you say we've got to rethink some things, I don't know if that's it or not. But I think that's where you got to go. Okay, how are we making adjustments? How are we communicating during the game? They just got to go back and rethink everything. They'll get it right.
Well, we'll see if Auburn can come out against Georgia and look good in the first half and not just the second half. Big game in Athens, ESPN, 7:45 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. Auburn and Georgia, I'll be there. We'll be here next week to break it all down on Auburn Intel. Thanks for joining us.
War Eagle.